again, you will reinforce that the principal concern, Athi, that the community has is about the poor delivery of housing. This is an area that has suffered terribly after some huge blazes, fires a little earlier on.
A very good afternoon to you once again, Jeremy. We are in Hamburg now. We moved from Imizamo Yethu and we've moved closely and we're inside the informal settlement here in Hamburg. But one noticeable thing about this particular informal settlement, Jeremy, which I'm going to ask my colleague to show you, and which I'm sure you can actually see with the picture behind me, is that this particular informal settlement has built structures that are actually, they have gaps in between them so that when fires break out, at least one shack fire doesn't catch the next, so that the shack fire doesn't spread, and that was the case in Imizamo Yethu with that massive shack fire last year. The one problem in particular that these informal settlements have in Cape Town is that they're so built so close to each other that it's so easy that for one shack fire to catch fire from the next shack. So here in Hamburg, we've seen now that at least the way that these structures are built is in such a way that causes less impact in terms of the fire affecting the rest of the community. And also I'm going to ask my colleague to show you that there's a formal house here amongst so many other informal structures. It goes to show that even when I was speaking to some of the residents here, they're saying to me that they take it upon themselves to actually place themselves or put themselves in situations where they can help themselves out. They said to me that in particular those residents in that formal housing, they couldn't wait for the government to hand them over a formal house, so they decided to take matters into their own hands, helping themselves out there, moving from an informal shack to a formal brick house. I'm also joined by a resident here, Teresa, who's been living in Hamburg for 8 years. Teresa, what are the challenges that you've faced in this community? I mean, we've seen some of the challenges. They're very similar to Imizamo Yethu down there, also in Hout Bay. What are the challenges that you're faced with here in Hamburg?
De challenges wat ons face hier in Hamburg is vir die 8 jaar soos u sê ek is hier. En vir die 8 jaar kan ek sien dit gaat so. Soos ons waar staan is 'n sloot wat die mense wat aan die agterkant bly, hulle het nie water nie, hulle het die toilets nie, daar is die krag nie. My skoonma bly nou al 40 jaar in 'n huis. Sy het nog nie eens haar dieetafseil gekry nie. Soos julle kan deur die plek loop sien, julle leer die vullis. Wat gaat nou al vir jare gaat het so aan. Het bod elke keer word promises gemaak, die mense gaan krag kry, die mense gaan ontendelike toilets kry, die mense gaan huise kry. Dat het nog niks gebeur nie. Ons kinders raak siek, ons het 'n kliniek wat net van van 8 o'clock af tot 4 o'clock toe. Daar is hier 'n emergency nie. Wat van ons groot mense? Hier is 'n renoffice, die renoffice is geventileer, hulle het nog nooit reggemaak nie. Hier loop van onze colleagues wat jaren bly, wat geboren is hier, wat kan sê wat alles hier aangaan.
Teresa, I brought from the emergency services, and just coming into this area, we saw it's a steep hill actually where these houses are actually built, and it's actually very difficult for anybody to walk up here. How inaccessible is it in terms of emergency services trying to get to the places where they're required?
Very difficult. Very difficult. Well, a couple of years ago we did here, they said you're going to build a road up here. So far we hear nothing about it. Like I say, they're making promises, nothing happened. If you're walking through our place, you can see how it stinks here. How the wheels, hoe leer die P en die A in onze kinders moet hier speel. Hulle moet elke dag moet hulle hier op en afloop. En wat 'n gesondheid is dit vir ons kinders? Wat is ons diere? Ons is die diere wat hier bly nie. Hoekom vergiet hulle dan van Hangberg se mense? Kyk hoe lê ons so vullis. Hulle sê hulle bring kontrakte in. Hulle het nog niks van dit gedoen nie. Hulle sê ook ons moet ons huiswerk in orde kry. Hulle moet nie vir hulle worry van ons huiswerk wat nie in orde is nie. Hulle moet hulle werk kom doen hier. Want dit is die mense wat vir hulle gesit het in die posisies wat hulle is. Ons kan nie vir jou in 'n posisie sit en dan kan jy nie jou werk hier kon doen nie.
But Danki Teresa, that is a resident here in Hamburg, saying she's been living here for 8 years, and some of the challenges very similar to what we saw in Imizamo Yethu, with people without water and electricity. She's saying that emergency services also find it very difficult to gain access to the area because the structures are actually built on a steep hill, so it's very difficult for anybody to try and get into the area. So the challenges that they're facing here, saying that it's a violation to their rights, the Bill of Rights in Chapter 2 of the Constitution. So as much as politicians are discussing right now the human rights, for South Africans in the country, residents on the ground, residents in the community, saying that politicians are actually neglecting taking care of their basic human rights.
All right.